Hey guys, it's Christina. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a little bit different from like what I normally do. I really wanted to make this video because I've been getting a lot of questions about my job, and I wanted to make this video to help other nurses to basically decide if travel nursing is for you and if this is something that you should venture into. So I'm going to talk about what travel nursing is, the difference between travel nursing and like contract nursing, and also the pros and cons of travel nursing. Before I get into today's topic, can you guys just subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell so you get notified of when I post new videos. I make videos on various topics, everything from like beauty, travel, fitness, random weird shit. Travel nursing is defined as, essentially what it is it's this huge genre of job opportunities for medical professionals. There is not just travel nursing. If you're a respiratory therapist or a radiologist or a radiology tech, travel opportunities for pretty much every medical profession there is. What you do is you travel, of course, hence travel nursing, travel to different hospitals, work at them for a few months, or as long as really you want to, you can actually extend the stay for I think up to 6 months. And consider it a travel assignment, and then you go home, and it's really fun. I've really enjoyed it. I love it. I'm actually gonna take a break from school. I'm in school for acute care nurse practitioner, and I want to take like a year break and just travel because I really enjoy it. I really like honestly making more money. I figure I can make a dent in my student loan. I wish I had stumbled upon the opportunity sooner. I think that it's a great opportunity for nurses. I don't see why more nurses don't do it, especially if you don't have a lot of obligations, if you're young, if you're single, and you want to travel. I mean, you should really get into it. Travel nursing is different from contract nursing in that contract nursing is contracted out directly through the hospital. Typically with contract nursing, it's usually 32-week contracts. I'm just using an example from my last permanent job. They're usually anywhere between $50 and $65 an hour. You're there for 13 weeks, but you don't qualify for any benefits. You don't get any health care. You don't get anything. Travel nursing is a little bit different in that there is options for insurance and health benefits and stuff like that. And they can range from anywhere between 3 weeks, and you can actually extend out a 13-week contract, which a 13-week contract is typically the length of time, up to 6 months if you want to. So that's the main difference between travel nursing and contract nursing. Travel nursing is a very unique thing. It's really cool to be able to go to different hospitals, work, get your experience, make your money, explore the area, have fun, and then go home. You do receive a stipend for living expenses as well. So you get paid an hourly wage, and then your stipends for, it's called lodging, I think, in food or something, I don't know. Anyway, in basic bitch terms, it's literally to pay for your housing and to pay for your food. It is not taxed. So you get to keep all of it, which is really nice. And it's usually anywhere between $1,000 and $2,000 a week, just your stipends, depending on where you go. Some states pay higher than other states. Some contracts pay higher than other contracts. A lot of people have asked me who I'm signed up with. I work with Trusted Health. I love them. I worked with a different company before, and just to be honest, I did not like them. And I find that Trusted Health, for the most part, has the highest rates as far as like pay is concerned. And I really like the way they're set up. I really have enjoyed my time with them, and I think I'm gonna stick with them unless I do a contract directly through a hospital, which I've considered doing as well. You compare contract nursing to travel nursing, the pay is honestly about the same, with travel nursing being a little bit more, but you have to duplicate your expenses. In other words, you have to pay rent to live wherever you're living out of your stipends, and so it kind of evens out. So you're not going to get paid more than you would for the most part in contract nursing with travel nursing, but you do get the opportunity to experience new hospitals, work at different levels of like trauma centers, and of course travel, which is the perk. So let's get into the pros and cons. So the pros, obviously, first one is the opportunity to travel. I have been to New Mexico and now Colorado just through travel nursing. I've never been to Colorado, before, and it's been such a fun experience. It's been so different. Like Colorado is definitely its own thing. And for my next travel contract, I kind of want to go to Las Vegas. I love Nevada. I love Vegas. And so yeah, that's something that's awesome. You can, if you have a compact license, like you are set all the compact states you can work in. If you want to work in California, I believe it's $100, and it does take some time. Which is why I haven't worked in California, because I love California. Like I really want to go to California myself. But you have to apply for the California license, and it's like a temporary license. But if you have a compact license, or if you have a license in another state, you can apply to work in pretty much any state, and within a few short months you'll be certified to like work there, and you can travel there. I know travel nurses who have been to so many places like Hawaii, Florida, New York, all over the US. You can even travel to Puerto Rico, though Puerto Rico pays very low, so I personally would not travel to Puerto Rico. Yeah, there's opportunities to travel all over the United States, and the surrounding islands that are considered a part of the United States. If you have a compact license, your options are a lot more, and a lot of people apply who don't have the compact license, like that you can apply to have the compact license, and then you just expand your scope of where you can work. So it's awesome. You can travel literally anywhere. A lot of people ask me about actually traveling. Like, okay, obviously if you don't like traveling, you're not gonna like travel nursing. Personally, I love traveling. So yeah, that's just a perk. Obviously, if you like traveling, that's a perk. The next perk is obviously the pay. So this is the reason that I honestly got into travel nursing. At my last permanent job, I like loved it. But I was getting paid so little. Like there was new nurses coming in, making so much more than me, and not so much more, but a couple of dollars an hour more than me. And I was already like responsible for like doing charge nurse a couple of nights a week in a very high critical ICU, CCU environment. And I was floating to neuro ICU. And I asked HR and my boss if I could get like an hourly raise, especially since I was doing all these other things. And I already was going on to like, at that time I was going on to my 4th year of experience. Now I'm going on to my 5th year of experience. So I was just like, can I get some sort of a raise? And the answer was always like, no. And so that's one of the reasons I got into travel nursing. And honestly, the pay, I think, is what keeps people traveling. Now, the pay is really, really good, but you have to be careful with who you take a contract with. And I say that because there's some contracts that I see through some agencies that are really lowball offers, and it's really sad that nurses, especially new travel nurses, get sucked into that and will take a really low offer, because the offer probably could be so much more. And I can leave some links in the description box below on how to look up and see if the offer that you're getting or the pay package you're getting is a good offer, and how to know if it's not a good offer. So I'll leave some links below. That way you can learn a little bit more about that, and also learn how to like negotiate your contracts and stuff, because that's another perk is you get to negotiate your pay. With most places, Trusted Health, I don't negotiate my pay because literally, they have like the highest rates, so there's no negotiation with them. And I think Nomad too is another agency where they don't use recruiters and you don't have to negotiate your pay, which is really nice. But yeah, pay is like a really big perk of travel nursing. You can get paid as much as $3,000 a week in some places in California, depending on your specialty. I find that ICU, cath lab, and CVICU are like probably the higher paid positions that I see. So the next one is a huge perk. No hospital politics, and in general, you're like a neutral being in the unit, which is really nice. It's really nice to have your bosses just be very neutral with you, really nice to you. My directors at this time have been amazing. Like, I love them. I would totally stay in this position like permanently. Like, I would accept a permanent position at this hospital like that if the money was right. However, Denver is just a very expensive place to live in, and I would literally have to live out of a cardboard box if I was not getting travel nurse pay. However, in general, you don't have to deal with like things like meetings. You don't have to deal with things like I don't know, CODI percentages and stuff like that. Like, all those little silly things that they nitpick at the hospital, you really don't have to deal with it that much. And, you know, I've heard that some hospitals are better than others. However, if it is one of those hospitals where they're really nitpicky or things are just a little overwhelming as far as the hospital politics are concerned, the good thing is you're only there for 13 weeks and you can move on. But for the most part, yeah, hospital politics is something that is not really, it's not a concern with travel nurses, which is really nice. So the next perk or pro is you can save money. I had such a hard time saving money as a regular staff nurse. Like I literally lived like a college kid, like for my first year or two of nursing. I would think my pay was like, when I first started, was like $23 an hour. This was like in 2016 though, the January, barely turned 2016 when I got hired. I was not able to save for that year. And then the year after, after I got my second job, moved on, even then, like getting paid 26-ish an hour, it's still really hard to save. Just with general expenses, like having like your vehicle insurance, bills, student loans, living, eating, and then of course like me, I'm extra, so I buy things like Starbucks. Like I wasn't able to save. With travel nursing alone, I have been able to save enough to put a down payment on a house, and I've only been travel nursing for 6 months. And that's why I want to travel nurse for another year, is because I'll be able to save to literally probably pay off my student loans and my car and probably get another vehicle if I want to. So as far as like stabilizing your life, especially after college, especially if you went to nursing school and you got loans, or just in general as a young person, like it's a great way to build a good amount of money, whether you want to start a business, whether you want to go back to school for a nurse practitioner, like whatever you want to do, travel nursing is like a good ticket to. So I'm editing this, and I just need to add that you do need 1 to 2 years of experience to be a travel nurse. So you need experience in an acute care setting or whatever specialty you plan to travel in. You need at least a year, preferably 2, of experience to travel. Now, it's not good, I think, for everyone. Obviously, if you have a family, if you have a lot of expenses, you won't be able to save as much. But for me, like living pretty much like a college kid, like I don't do a lot of expensive things other than like Starbucks and like buying clothes and makeup here and there. But yeah, if you live frugal, like literally, if you do this job for like a year or 2, you can pay off most of your debt and you can start saving money for whatever you want to do in life. I just met a travel nurse who started her own travel consulting business. Like she's a travel agent. And I've met a couple of other travelers who have also started businesses, and literally they've saved money. They've saved money through travel nursing to start their businesses, which I think is amazing. The next pro is the ability to customize your needs. So in my permanent nursing job, and I mean, permanent nursing obviously had its own perks. Like I really enjoyed being a staff nurse, and it was great while I did it, but I wouldn't go back to it as RN personally. However, you cannot customize your schedule for the most part. Like if you don't want to work Christmas and your boss tells you or puts you on and you're like, you're working Christmas, you're kind of screwed. Like you're going to work Christmas. However, with travel nursing, you can customize what you need for your lifestyle. Like they even asked you in the interview, is there any schedule needs that you need? Now, some people, if you have like a crazy amount of needs, like I don't want to work weekends, and if you're telling them I don't want to work these days, and you have like a long list of things and you're being a little bit difficult, they probably won't hire you. However, you can tell them like, hey, reasonable things. I don't want to work like Christmas because I want to go home to spend it with my family. That's what I did with this travel contract, and I'll get into the next perk. But yeah, they were able to customize my schedule. My boss took me off for Thanksgiving so I can go home, and then they took me off for Christmas so I could go home. And my contract also ends kind of like at the end of the week, and it ends on the same day that my rental lease, my lease ends. And so I asked my boss to put me like kind of at the beginning of the week on my last week. That way I can have time to like move out all my stuff. And she did that. And so and you cannot do that in a permanent job. Like, yeah, you put in the days that you want to work, but most of the time, like especially with the needs of everybody in the unit being put in, you don't get the days that you want. You get kind of the schedule you want. Sometimes your schedule will be scattered. Sometimes if you're night shift, you don't even have like your 3 days in a row, you can literally put that in your contract if you want to. However, sometimes like some hospitals don't want to deal with that, so they won't hire you. I'm not gonna lie, but most hospitals are very like welcoming to travelers, and they're willing to work with the things that you want. And that goes into the next topic. So for the most part, travel nurses don't work holidays, and that is a big perk for a lot of people who are very family oriented. I love my family. I want to spend all the holidays with my family, and like the first few years of nursing, it really broke my heart that like I couldn't be with them because I had to be at work, which really sucked. I think I worked like 2 or 3 Thanksgivings in a row for like 3 years. And this is the first year that I literally am not working Thanksgiving. I didn't even work like Memorial Day. And the reason why is because travel nurses, you know, you get your travel pay, but on travel nurse contracts for your holiday pay, it's usually time and a half plus stipend money. So they don't want to work you unless they absolutely have to on a holiday, because you're going to cost more to work than one of their staff. So typically, even if you don't ask for it off, you really probably won't work all the holidays. It's rare. At least that's how I saw it in my last contract too, which they weren't as great about the schedule. My schedule was kind of all over the place, but I never worked a holiday. Like it was during the summer, I didn't work the 4th of July and I didn't work Memorial Day, which was awesome. This leads me into the next perk, which is you can take time off. So obviously you're making more money, right? I'm going to be very transparent with you guys about like how much I'm making and like what my expenses are. So my before taxes, my gross pay is about $2,300 a week. That's just working 3 days a week. If I work an extra day, I don't know how much it is, honestly. I know that after taxes, anytime I've worked like a 4th day, I brought home $2,800 in a week, and I get paid every Friday. But anyway, the whole point of me telling you that is I am able to save, like I'm gonna go home with a little over 10 grand just in savings, and that's like paying off my credit cards and paying for stuff and going home for Christmas and like buying plane tickets. And I'm not even gonna drive home, I'm gonna transport my car home. So I literally could have saved probably more. I probably could have saved about $15,000 in 3 months. But yeah, so with that money, I don't have to work in February. I'm literally gonna take a month off, rest, relax, go to Vegas with my family for my birthday in January, and like literally take a month and a half off, and I'm gonna take another contract, whether it be a local contract at home or whether I take another travel contract. My next contract is gonna be in March. And so with this type of lifestyle of nursing, you can take time off like that. I could not just randomly take a month off in my permanent job or any staff job. You can't take a month off. So that's a huge pro. So the next pro is travel nursing. It attracts, I feel like, a lot of very cool people. All the travel nurses I met have been very like laid back, cool people, like to have fun, like very friendly, very welcoming, want to help each other. That's another thing. Like travelers are like the hardest workers. Like they are the first ones like, hey, can you help me with the turn? Traveler gets up, helps you. I don't know. To me, the travelers I met have been amazing. But I feel like travel nursing in general is awesome because there's so much, like, there's such a togetherness. Like once you meet another traveler, it's like that you're a family. And there's so many meet and greets. Like I'm going to a meet and greet tomorrow, and I might go to like a party on New Year's. Depends if my parents like come for New Year's or not. But like there's so many meet and greets and so many different things to do. Just recently, I think this past week, my company held like a big, huge like get together for all the travelers in my company in San Francisco. I couldn't go because I was working. However, like stuff like that, you don't really have, I feel, that kind of unity, or at least I didn't in my staff position. There was a few like get-togethers, but honestly, I don't know if it was just my hospital. We never had like holiday parties. We never had stuff where we all got together and hung out. It was usually like within the hospital, and it was always really awkward because like your bosses were there, your directors were there, and everybody was just kind of like trying to be proper, trying to like dress nice with like a turtleneck on, you know. And with travel nursing, it's so different. Like the people that I've hung out with and the meet and greets I've gone to, like People get drinks, people hang out, people talk, people are dressed casually. Like, it's very, very cool. Like, the opportunities and the people you meet and traveling is just, it's awesome. So I'm gonna get into the cons, because in a perfect world, travel nursing would be perfect, right? But it's not, and it's not for everybody, and that's why I'm making this video. And yeah, so let's get into it. So the first one is your health insurance and your benefits are so much more expensive than they would be in a permanent job. And just for some comparison, every 2 weeks I paid $20 for Blue Cross Blue Shield with my last permanent job. So it's about $45 a month, a little under $50 a month. I pay about $60 per week with my current insurance company, and through my agency. Like, through your agency, through your travel nurse agency, you should be able to get health insurance and like dental insurance. Some of them do offer like the accidental death and all that stuff. Mine doesn't, so I have to get that separately. So that's like another major con, especially if you have a family, is this kind of stuff can get very expensive. For me personally, yes, it's more expensive, but the amount of money I'm making makes up for it. However, if I had 3 or 4 children, that would add up very quickly. And also, I didn't get dental insurance because I'm an idiot. And then like I had recently like an infection. I had to go to a dentist here randomly in Denver, and they're like, you need your wisdom teeth out. And it was $700. So I had to drop $700 on getting my wisdom teeth out on the side out of nowhere. And so that can be like a major con, is just the benefits in general. I read somewhere that like for contract nursing, like the ones that you take through the hospital, it's actually cheaper for the hospital to hire someone for 13 weeks if they really need them, whether it be like a traveler or a contract nurse, because the health insurance they pay for the employee and like the dental and all that stuff that they pay for the employee costs more than, you know, paying someone 50 or 60 bucks an hour, which is crazy to me. But yeah, I believe it, because my insurance is significantly more expensive. It's not enough to make a difference in my pay. Like, my pay is way more, but it could be a con to somebody who has a family and needs to get insurance for everybody. So the next con is travel nursing can be lonely. And I say this because like I'm a single girl with my dog, and I travel, and most travel nurses are like single people. You have to get out there and make friends, and even when you do, it's really difficult because people don't want to commit to you even for friendship sometimes, because you're only going to be there for 3 months and then you're gone. I will say I've made a few friends here, and I made a few friends in my last travel position, but I can't get lonely. Like, you're alone in a city that you don't know. You have to get around and go buy your own groceries and do your own shit. It helps to have family that's willing to come visit you, and it helps to make friends and to meet other travelers. That's why I think travelers are so big on doing these meet and greets, because you get to meet other people in the area that you're in and invite people to go with you places, invite people to go with you. Like recently, just yesterday, I went to a pole class. I've never been to a pole class. I've done all sorts of dance classes, never been to a pole class. I went by myself, but I met friends there, which was fun. But like, for example, like meet people that want to do stuff like that, you know what I mean? Or do just random things with you. Sometimes it can get lonely. You have to get used to being by yourself a lot. Some people would have a problem with it. I actually really like being alone sometimes. Hashtag introvert. But yeah, that can be a con. The next one is it's not always higher pay. So remember how I was talking about you have to be careful with the contract that you take? There's a lot of places where people work, for example, in California. I think working a staff job in California, like, it would not be worth it for you to travel, because you're already working in the state where nurses make the most, and you're probably making more than most of the travel nurses. So, I mean, it just depends. You definitely have to weigh everything out. It's not always a higher rate of pay, depending on where you're going. The first place I can think of that would not be a higher rate of pay would be Miami. I really want to go to Florida. I really want to go to Miami. I love the beach. I love Cuban food, and I really want to go to Miami. However, the pay in Miami is not very good, and the cost of living in Miami is pretty high. So that is what has kept me from looking at Miami contracts. And you just have to be careful where you take a contract at. Some places are really, really high rates. For example, Washington is a really high rate, but good God, it's probably freezing up there. So like, you know, you have to look at everything. It's not always a higher rate of pay. And sometimes when it is a higher rate of pay, it's going to be in a place that's not so fun. For example, my friend of mine wants to go to Gallup, New Mexico. There ain't shit, I'm sure, to do in Gallup, okay? But I can guarantee you the pay is going to be very, very high. For me, I think it was like $2,300 a week for ICU for 3 days a week. And the cost of living of Gallup is very low. All over New Mexico, it's low. For the most part, it's a lot lower than like California for sure. And of course, much lower than Colorado. So always look at your cost of living, always look at everything, because sometimes it's going to be much higher rate than what you're going to get a permanent job, but not always. The next one is being the oddball in the unit. So you are that person who is forgetting what the code to the supply closet is every 5 minutes. You're just the person that sticks out as a person that's not the permanent staff there. That's not always the case. At my current facility, there is a lot of agency, a lot of contract, and a lot of travelers. So, I mean, everyone's kind of there for a bit and they're used to people kind of rotating in and out. But for the most part, if you go into a facility where everyone's just like a staff member and you're just there, it can feel very weird. It was on my first travel contract. I did feel like that a bit. I was like the oddball out. Obviously, like I wasn't like a staff there. And so they knew me as a traveler. And so it can feel weird sometimes. Sometimes people are just, they won't even refer to you as your name, depending on where you're at. They'll be like, oh, the traveler. And you just know that it's you, but still it feels a little weird. Another con is floating. So at my current facility, they don't float me. Like I have not floated at all. I am CVICU and ICU is combined with CVICU. I have stood there the entire contract. I'm telling you right now, though, that floating is a con. My last contract, I floated at least once a week. And I believe in California, specifically at Kaiser hospitals, you float multiple times throughout the day. As a traveler especially, you're like the first up to float. And it can get crazy. In my first travel contract, I did ortho, I did observation unit, I did medical, I did tally, I got floated to ER, and I was only there for 13 weeks. I got floated several times. I literally worked in all of the units in the hospital except for pediatrics and labor and delivery. And I'm an ICU nurse, and so I got a lot of good experience. Like I never worked a bariatric floor before, but I went to their ortho/bariatric surgery floor, and so I did learn a lot. However, I'm not gonna lie, it was very annoying to be floating all over the hospital. But as a traveler, you have to be willing to do that, or you have to put in your contract if you're not willing to float. And to be honest, anything that you put in your contract, I think with the exception of like certain days off, as long as it's nothing like crazy, it's gonna put you at risk of not getting hired. Like why would they hire someone who's like, I'm not willing to float, if someone else applies and they're willing to float? So just saying that might not get you hired. So that's a major con, is like the expectations to float and a schedule too, depending on what you put in your contract. The last con that I found was just paying in the ass for me is negotiating your pay, which is why I'm with Trusted Health, because they have, for me in my opinion, they have the higher rates, and I don't like playing games with travel agencies. I don't like playing games with recruiters. I get tired, and recruiters still call me. Like they call me like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when I'm asleep, and it's really annoying. However, negotiating pay is a pain in the ass. Like this is the best way to put it. Like you literally have to go back and forth with the recruiter. Sometimes the recruiters are not very nice, because honestly, they do get a cut of your pay. If you work with a company with a recruiter, your whole pay is based on a bill rate that the hospital puts for the position, and the company or the agency that you go with gets a cut, the recruiter gets a cut, and you get what's left over. And so the recruiter is trying to take the biggest cut that he can and give you the best offer, try and balance it if he's a good person, or if he's trying to do what's fair, better yet. However, most of them will try and give you the least amount possible to try and get the most amount of money in their pocket. And it's annoying. Like I don't want to have to look up the bill rate. I don't want to have to look up all this stuff to make sure that you're not trying to screw me over. But however, that is the way it is with most travel agencies, and that's why it's a con, because it's not fun. Like it's not fun to have to do that. It's not fun to sign up for a contract you know, be new and get paid like what, $1,200 a week, and find out that if you would have done your research, you probably could have gotten like $1,600 a week, but you know, you didn't, and so now you're screwed. Overall, I think travel nursing is absolutely worth it. If you've thought about it, I really think you should do your research and just go for it. What do you have to lose? Like, if you hate it, just work one contract for 13 weeks and then go back to your permanent job. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up. Leave any questions that you have in the comments, and I will answer them the best that I can. I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.